Over the past 7 to 8 years, I've noticed how the mainstream news cycle has taken a heel turn over to one political persuasion.
It has been another, can you believe it kind of day in the news. For one thing, it has been another crazy day of the president doubling and tripling down on his latest racist outrage gambit. Not only continuing, but now escalating his attack on 4 young minority female members of Congress.
Charlottesville is an egregious symptom of what is wrong with parts of all over America. I'm not jumping to conclusions, sir. I'm being factual, and you are dismissing it. And
in order to have this conversation, and which the president doesn't seem to be very aware of the history of this country, you have to be aware of the history of this country, and we have to discuss the history of this country. And the history of...
In terms of the Trump campaign and their relationship with this part of the sort of white nationalist, white supremacist movement.
Are you saying that it is in Dr. Ford's best interest in her safety?
I think it's in everyone's best interest to find
her to
answers.
Testify on Monday?
I think it's in everyone's. Don't speak to me like.
If you want to talk about bullying, how about this? Kayleigh McEnany, I can't have you on the show anymore. You know why? You're clearly not working for me anymore. You're not working for me anymore. I thought you worked for me. I thought you used to take care of me. When people used to ask you about me, you'd say good things. Now you're being fair. Now you're pushing back. That's what he said about Fox News. You talk about bullying.
The president's not bullying anyone.
The coronavirus has now entered a devastating new phase as the World Health Organization declares it a global pandemic.
Now, you treat this like a flu. This is the most aggressive and comprehensive effort to confront a foreign virus in modern history. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days.
We have thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that get better just by sitting around and even going to work. Some of them go to work.
If you are sick or not feeling well, stay home.
The Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. This is their new hoax.
We must put politics aside, stop the partisanship, and unify together as one nation.
It was really something wild to see. And for a good while, I believed it too. I thought Trump and the people that supported him were a few steps away from the devil himself. Thinking back on it, it's really crazy how I believed that. During the years when Trump was in office, life was good. I was in school, the economy was in a good place, and I know that because McDonald's actually had a dollar menu, an actual dollar menu, unlike now.
McDonald's has a dollar menu right now without a single item that costs $1.
You read or listen to the news cycle and you think a civil war would boil over any day now in this country. The truth of the matter is that people are too worried with their own lives to even bother doing that. I know the internet paints a different picture. Like, you can go on Twitter and click on a topic in the trending tab and think the world is going to hell. That's where you get most of your information from. I can see why you'd think that. But the internet's not real life. And Twitter is absolutely not real life. Elon Musk said back in July that 531,202,332 people worldwide were using Twitter. Now, going by Statista, on their last report in January 2023, 95.4 million people in the United States use Twitter. Now, let's cross-reference that with Pew Research. In their spring 2023 survey, 60% of U.S. adults who had used Twitter in the past year said that they had taken a break from the platform in that time. In the same 2023 survey, a quarter of current or recent Twitter users said it is unlikely they will be on the site a year later. What should we say then about cable news, which is in a much worse spot? There are content creators on YouTube that do better numbers than that. Now, the news cycle is gearing up for the next round of scaring as many people out of their minds as possible.
What would a second Donald Trump term look like?
Well, he cannot be the next president.
You can't imagine the things that he's going to do. Mexico, Canada. We can't go to Canada because eventually Canada will become annexed to America.
And shoot visitors to the White House.
Yeah.
That means he can shoot the First Lady. We're going to see violence, the likes of which we didn't even see on January 6th.
Make it illegal to run against him, to throw his opponents in jail, to shut down the media.
He will make himself into the Fuhrer, and he will make everybody raise their hand and salute him.
Using martial law against the American people.
Terminate the Constitution.
To rewrite the Constitution.
Create mass internment camps.
Throw everyone into Gitmo.
Might be sent to jail, or their rights might be suppressed, especially minority groups in society.
You might have any number of things happen to you and your family.
Every one of us, our freedom, our liberty, none of us is safe.
It's going to have people around him executing against an enemy's list.
All right, I've had enough of that. I personally think that this is disgusting. You have a duty to tell people what's objectively happening in the world. Scaring them into believing that the U.S. is going to fall apart if Trump is reelected is asinine. Just absolutely asinine. We literally already had this guy for 4 years, and this country was fine. Looking back, I'd say it was even better than what it is now. This news cycle is not even trying to keep on the masks at their objective.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
There's not going to be a dictatorship or a war, but thanks to the awful news cycle that we've had over the past 7 to 8 years, our political discourse has been ruined. It's become an absolute minefield to talk about nearly any political or social issue sweeping the country. You don't want a group of angry Twitter people coming after you and making your life a living hell? Keep your mouth shut. That's the best thing to do. So I guess the news cycle kind of got what they've been screaming about. It's just that instead of it being a real physical war, it's a war of ideas. I don't remember political discourse ever being this bad before this past half decade. But thankfully, a lot of that hostility is concentrated on the internet. Sure, some of that craziness does spill out into the real world. But people are far more reasonable to each other when you can actually see the other person. Not behind a screen, but in person. If I were to shut off the news cycle tomorrow and never look back, I would think that the country would be doing just fine. And that's not me just speaking out of what's going on in my community. Earlier this year, I did some traveling across the country, around North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. People are just trying to make ends meet. Most people are friendly and accommodating to strangers because at one point, they were a stranger. When I was in North Carolina, I visited Chimney Rock and hiked up the mountain. Along the way, I met so many people from all walks of life. Not just from North Carolina, but all over the country. The best thing about it was when we were all standing at the peak under the giant American flag. And, I thought to myself, that's all of us. We're all Americans. Imagine if instead of traveling to other countries for vacations, every American traveled to another state or a group of states, just meeting and enjoying company with other people. I think this country would do a lot of healing that way. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about all of this. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.